All right, grade 10s, I know you've looked at this exemplar already, but I would like to work through it a little bit with you. So if we start with the question, it says, looking closely at how weakness and strength are presented in at least two works you've studied, discuss the significance of the relationship between the two. And so in green, I've highlighted all the references that link back to that question. So strength, weakness, strength, power. This essay argues that weaknesses and strength play a role in power. So power again, weakness, weak and finding strength, power, etc. If I'm just going to go through, you can see all the references that connect back to the question. Right, so do make sure you're doing that constantly in your essays. I've also highlighted in blue the sentences that refer to both texts. Now, because it's a compare-contrast essay, you do need to be using as many blue sentences as you can. So these are sentences which have references to both of the texts. So here it says, within both the reader and the God of small things, weaknesses and strength are presented through the power dynamics. So that first sentence right off, right in the beginning, compares the two texts. It gives me a little bit of background information, who wrote them, when they were published, and there's a strong link back to the question. The introduction includes a number of sentences that make reference to both of the texts, and you will see later how the conclusion is almost entirely blue. This particular essay, the thesis statement is, the significance of the relationship between both strength and weakness is explored through the themes of silence, love, and betrayal within both texts. So this essay has organized it in terms of themes. Silence, paragraph 1, love, paragraph 2, and betrayal, paragraph 3. This is easier to do when you're comparing novels or plays because there's a lot more to say. I think this would be more difficult in a poem because poems tend to only have one or two central themes. But by all means, if you would like to organize your essay in terms of themes, that's fine. In the previous lesson that we looked at, or the little video, I had organized them in terms of stylistic features. So those are both options to you. All right, and do notice how there is a constant link back to the question. This essay looks at how weaknesses and strengths are directly connected to power. All right, so the body paragraph starts with a blue sentence. It then goes on to talk about the one text in detail. There are a number of stylistic features mentioned. Even though they're talking about themes, they talk about foreshadow, they talk about rhythm or rhyme, they talk about foreshadow, they talk about structure, theme, chronological, novel, simple questions, symbolically, and symbols. So there are a number of stylistic features just in the first two paragraphs. There are these constant links back to the question, constantly talking about weakness and strength, power, strong, weakest. So ideally, we are looking for as many blue sentences as you can give us. They also use comparative words like conversely. Some other nice words would be in comparison, or unlike, or similarly, or in comparison to, this is different to, whatever comparative words you can find. All right, they then go on to talk about text 2, constantly linking back to the question, and it would probably have been nice to include another blue sentence at the bottom here. So when we go down all the way to the introduction, I have skipped a bit of this essay just to save time. You will notice that the conclusion is entirely blue. Both sentences there create a strong sense of comparison, and there are constant links back to the questions. So when you write your literature essay, do try to use as many comparative sentences as you can, as well as constantly linking back to your chosen question. Right, I hope that helps.